Welcome to another episode of Uncensored Daily Radar, where your fellow foiled friend scans the entire globe for what may or may not be artificial and nefarious activity. We go through satellite radar, as well as the Zippity Zip Zap radar, aka NEXRAD, to better understand atmospheric and environmental conditions in full context. Before we get started, there are a few things that you should know. Number one, I repeat, I am not a meteorologist, but I am a tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorist, which obviously makes me far more qualified to analyze atmospheric conditions. Number two, videos are fairly short, but feel free to skip ahead to any section you're most interested in. And lastly, if you'd like to see these daily radar videos, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Otherwise, this video is about to reach a paywall, and we'll pause right now. Now. Okay. All right, let's get started. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Uncensored Daily Radar. It is June 27th, about 11:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get started. Actually, I want to start with news. Well, I've been seeing some posts coming out of Australia. So when we go to check out trails for Australia, I want to see if we see anything. Because we're seeing them in video, so I want to see how it looks on satellite. Also, there's been interesting reports of things flying around the country, and Grok is like, oh, it's probably just a weather balloon. I mean, it could be a weather balloon. It's a very fast-moving weather balloon. It's moving faster than these commercial planes. A whole lot faster, right? Crazy footage from a tornado in Florida, sort of near Tampa. It's in an area called Largo. Check this out. And watch. The house comes down. And there was a woman in that building, and she was interviewed.
Right off its foundation, leaving her in fear for her life.
It was really kindled to a Wizard of Oz experience.
Video shows just the moment Wednesday night when an EF1 tornado moved through the city of Largo, north of his home, leaving him just down, set through
Air, inside the air.
Fire ordeal.
I didn't realize I was actually up in the air. I was too busy doing somersaults and getting thrashed from one side of the room to the wall to the other side. I ended up back here in the bedroom. I had been in what was a family room and stepped out, which was good because it's no longer there at all. So if I'd stayed in that room, I don't know what would have happened to me.
Miraculously, she not only survived, but managed to walk away with only bruises. A neighbor helped her get out.
How she survived it is unbelievable.
Truly, it's pretty remarkable. And yeah, so we had tornadoes in Largo, which is about here. And there was also videos going around X showing, it looked like, not metal particulate, they were larger than particles. It was like shards of metal, small reflective shards of something kind of slowly floating in the air, spinning around in slow motion. And a lot of people were like, what is that? That doesn't look natural. To me, it looked like, not that a tornado was forming, but that it was the circumstances that create a tornado were possibly mildly there. And that's why things had been picked up and were moving around. It must have gotten into some kind of area where a bunch of those shards were located, and that's why it was in the air. I'm always thinking with my tinfoil hat on, but when I saw that, I didn't really think it was anything unusual. I could totally be wrong. I also didn't really look into it too much, but it didn't really look like anything worth checking out any further. Iowa got a tornado as well.
Probably something we shouldn't be doing. Oh, it's on the ground again.
Yeah, it's on the ground. It's swirling up some stuff.
It's swirling up some stuff, they said. Tornado lasted 9 minutes. Pearson Wells. In North Dakota. Rainbow. What? I guess that was just video footage to show hail. These guys are really pulling at straws here.
Look at that.
There it is.
There it is.
Holy shit. Is there an exit right here?
Probably shouldn't sit here because it's kind of coming this way.
Crazy. And then this was going around yesterday. Everyone kept tagging me in these videos. Definitely weird. Okay, first I'll show you, for those of you who didn't see, in Georgia, actually, it was, people saw it in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, like all in the states surrounding Georgia. They had this view of these fireballs coming out of the sky. Oh, Gavin. So not only did they see fireballs, but people also reported feeling an earthquake. There were many earthquake reports. They're saying that there are theories that it was probably a meteor. It was probably a meteor. And in the earthquake reports, those were likely sonic booms. Likely sonic booms. Like the brief thunder-like noises when a spacecraft, aircraft, or space rocks travel faster than the speed of sound. I've been near things that break the sound barrier, and I don't know. I've felt many, I used to live in California, and it never felt anything like that. What has felt like an earthquake is when a house exploded near me. It shook my house. Did the meteor crash into a Georgia home? Well, the Weather Service says that a resident said that a rock fell through their roof, broke through the ceiling, cracked their home's laminate flooring. Because the incident occurred around the time of the sightings were happening, we are presuming that a piece of the object fell through their roof. So someone reported that something fell. And the fact that they could find a place where a piece of it was located, I would bet that I really wish they wouldn't have taken it all, because those people should have it tested. Why would you have to guess if it's a meteor, if a piece of it actually fell through someone's home? You should be able to test that and determine for sure what fell out of the sky. Yeah, crazy stuff. We've got so many fires. So many fires. We have a fire going on here in northern Florida. You've got wildfires in western Colorado. We've got wildfires in Utah. Stage 1 fire restrictions will be enacted across Utah at midnight tonight as wildfire danger escalates. That's in a couple of hours for you guys. Restrictions come as crew battles 2 large wildfires and respond to 4 new fire starts within the past day. More than 40 acres have already burned this season. And Alaska has, they're still getting their the wildfires are totally uncontrolled right now. 31,000 lightning strikes over a 3-day period. That's crazy.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Scholl. I'm one of the operations section chiefs with the Alaska Incident Management Team. We've taken over command of 2 fires down here near Healy, continuing to mop up around structures that were impacted by the fire within the fire area, as well as prepping the structures that are near the fire area.
Let's see. Firefighters across the final frontier are working to contain dozens of blazes that have forced evacuations and occasionally sent plumes of smoke drifting into the lower 48. Yep. Nearly 200 wildfires are currently being monitored in Alaska, with most burning in the interior region of the state. We'll cover that last. Okay, and we've got 2 locations here that they're keeping an eye on for tropical storms.
Something circled on here. An area to watch in the Bay of Campeche. Also an invest in the East Pac. This is the one, though, that is probably grabbing the most people's attention. Around this time of year, we have something called the Central American Gyre, and it's essentially an area of circulation, broad circulation, and you get thunderstorms to bubble up and cause some storms. Now, if you look at the forecast from the CPC for the next couple of weeks, doesn't show a lot of oomph in this area in the next couple of weeks. So with that said, development right now, 10 to 20%, not looking like it's going to do a whole lot of anything, but because of all the moisture and the thunderstorms that we have here in Central America and Mexico, we are going to get a lot of rain. So it also just proves a point that you don't need a named system or anything in order to get a lot of rain. As you can see, there is some...
All right. Lastly, interesting, vital hurricane satellites to go dark weeks into Atlantic storm season, and NOAA rips media for causing panic. So some of NOAA's vital hurricane tracking satellites are going to be shut off, apparently permanently. They're saying it's because of federal cuts. Now, these tracking satellites are, let me try to find it. Yeah, clarified that it's a microwave instrument, and we have ground-based versions that can supposedly do the same thing, so it doesn't matter if they're shutting it off. But people are saying, a lot of people have come out to say that if you shut it off, our accuracy is going to go down by 50%. Now, NOAA's saying, no, that's not true. That's not going to happen. I don't honestly know who to believe. I did look up to make sure that NEXRAD and the NOAA, the trail information from the satellites would not be going down, and it's not going to be going down, thankfully. But really, I was prepared to see that it was, because I know that they don't want people watching that. All right, now it's time. There was a lot of news today. There's normally not this much news, but so much was happening. My gosh. Oh, my hair looks short right now. There's more hair here. All right, let's let this play through and see what's going on. Oh, make sure you turn off your night shift and your any kind of blue light filters, because the blue light is actually where the most interesting information is on here. Every single glow you see here is a NEXRAD radar station. The official statement is that they track weather systems, give us predictions, forecasts, things like that. The conspiracy theory is that they are far more capable than just giving us qualities about storms, that they can actually manipulate the weather. Even go so far as to being direct energy weapons, can even ignite fires, things like that. This is, again, the area of focus. So at night, the sensitivity of the towers naturally goes up. However, there's an obvious difference between, well, actually really week to week, there seems to be a different area of focus, meaning towers in different areas are getting more sensitive. So like last night, what time is it? Okay, so I probably missed last night. Oh, that is interesting. So in the middle of the day today, this area got very, very sensitive. That's kind of what we normally see at night. And they came down, and now tonight, this area is the area of focus, and that's a lot of energy output right there. Now, radar is microwave radiation. One of the easiest things that these towers can do, if the theories are correct, is microwave an area. And when you microwave the atmosphere, you're heating it up. So, you know, everyone kept saying, we're under this heat dome, this heat dome. The heat dome was exactly where those towers were radiating an enormous amount of energy for weeks leading up to the heightened temperatures. And they were increasing and increasing. And you guys saw that because some of you live in this area. You guys were saying, oh man, let's hope we don't get any fires. Well, now there's fires. All right, let's, so I was talking about the area of focus. Okay, that's a lot of zip zappery. That's a lot of zip zapping. That's unnecessary zapping. We got some rippled radar around this area. All right, let's zoom in. I'm going to be looking more this way. We're going to check out the middle of the country as well. These towers are still more active than they used to be. Not nearly as bad as I've seen them. For about a month, this whole area was bright green with significant amounts of energy. All right, so this tower went out for a moment there. For 15 minutes. Two of them. There's two here. There's one here and one here. They both went off for 15 minutes. Which could totally just be for like maintenance purposes, testing purposes. I'm not sure. Now, Southern California zip zaps away nonstop. It's been like that since I started doing the show. These towers are emitting more than usual. We're still seeing those ripples and those flame-like radar coming out the towers on the coast, but they're not nearly as colorful as we've seen them. Yeah, flame-like coming out here. California's been doing some weird stuff. This is still calmer than I've seen it. And over here looks pretty normal. Now, let's look at the middle. This whole area is, I mean, it looks like if you throw metal dust into a microwave, that's what that looks like. Oh, lots of, yeah. That looks weird again. And and it's around when those zip zaps start again. Let's go to the middle here. So we have all of this crazy zip zappery. And then you're going to see these waves emanating from these towers. It's going to be like, yep, see? Pulse, pulse. And then you're going to see rippled radar hitting all over that storm. And that's where we are now. That's live right there. So we'll have to see what happens tonight. So zip, zip, zips. And then we're going to see those waves. And then you'll start seeing the zip zaps, the rippled radar here. And there's waves over here too, coming out from the towers. Let's zoom in even more. Oops. Can you stop taking a bath right next to me? My cat, not a human. That'd be weird. Stop it. So the waves, wave. Zip zaps, wave, wave, rippled radar, rippled radar, rippled radar, and then all the towers just increase in sensitivity. We see that over and over and over again. Whenever I see that, something crazy happens in the weather. And guys, something crazy happens in the weather now, like every day. Look at all that. It's every day now in this area. Usually when you see that, you're going to find out that some crazy hailstorm happened, tornadoes happened, a fire was ignited. So this is all weird. And then I just want to see what happens to these areas here. So, okay, wave, wave, wave. And then the rippled radar starts hitting this area on every side. Interesting. But, you know, if the towers are lighting up like that because they're emitting more microwave radiation, then that means they're heating up and making a high pressure zone, which means all of this stuff is going to pretty much evaporate into nothing. And we're already starting to see a lot of it disappear. See that? And then this is going to move northeast if this remains like this. Louisiana, southern Texas, you've got some interesting zip zaps. This tower again is zip zapping away. Too much. And then oh, that was a quick wave. That was a very quick wave coming from that tower. Boom. You know, the wave is coming from, well, actually that's just the rain going away. All right. All right, more rippled radar around the storm headed over Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Delaware. Yeah, so the storm has a lot of that. When I say rippled radar, that's just my own term. It just looks like a ripple in the radar. The theory is that it could possibly be frequency generation, a way to manipulate the storm. All over. Now, it's normal for towers to react to a storm, of course. But the rippled radar, they say, is a glitch. It's like a reflection off of birds or insects, but we only ever see it around storms that end up making the news. And my gosh, the amount of storms that make the news these days. Look at all that precipitation coming out all at the same time. And then look at the way all the towers are acting. Rippled radar all over the place. All right. So tonight, the area of focus for the towers, unless it continues to do a wave across the country, but right here. All right, let's check out trails. There's Europe over here, Spain and Portugal, just looking at the Atlantic. When I say trails, I can mean contrails or chemtrails. Contrails are usually easy to spot because they're lower in altitude. They'll spread out pretty quickly and disappear without a trace. The trails that are suspicious are higher altitude, very defined. They'll spread out and they'll drop in altitude and then like make cloud cover colliding with the remnants of other trails. So we've got some lines in here. We've got some of those new brand smoky trails. For those of you who've been following a while, I think there's a different kind of trail. They are harder to see the lines from, but they have this weird, hazy, smoky looking mist. And this is the kind of stuff that Europe gets. This kind of greenish, dirty looking haze. I could see obvious trails here in Canada. Lots of lines mixed in. You can see them coming off the edges here. And up here. Ooh. And they're obviously trails left by aircraft because they usually appear from one end to the other, very often going in the opposite direction of the wind. Plenty of trails over here on the western side of Canada. See what I mean? You can see the direction they're coming from. And plenty off the Pacific. Got to check those out. Now, over the United States, we do have trails. Because people keep posting pictures now and videos. Not as many, but they're here. And wow, guys. I think there's a possibility that they have exclusively changed over the product of choice across the entire country. They were only doing it in some areas, but now it seems like they're doing it everywhere. You see these faint cross-hatch lines? I believe those are the chemtrails we normally see, but they're spreading out so darn fast into that smoky cloud stuff. And I think that's the haze that everyone sees right now. There's also a possibility that the amount that they're microwaving the area is somehow preventing the trail from persisting, and it's just kind of forcing it into a haze much faster. Also, these kind of areas, these fast-moving, chunky areas, I normally can't see trails mixed in there anyway. There are normally trails mixed in these because anytime I've been under them, I can always see there's a lot of trails mixed in them. And other people, send pictures and stuff from their area. So there's probably trails mixed in here, but I can't tell you that there are because I can't see any with my own eyes. I do see some more classic trails in here, some very defined lines. I guess we got to wait for this, this whole NEXRAD heat wave thing to stop to see what happens. Because part of me is wondering if it's the NEXRAD activity, if there obviously probably is a natural heat wave as well, but NEXRAD is just making it worse. I don't know. I'm just really curious if we're ever going to see those kinds of trails again. The really obvious dark black ones that we're still seeing off the coast here. And, Canada obviously hasn't changed anything. Before we switch satellites, I think I see some around here. Let's check out Mexico. Those clouds are tricky, but those are clouds, not trails. I mean, if there really aren't trails in these areas, then they really haven't been trailing as much since I made that video saying it was the first day I hadn't seen trails. These right here, I'm pretty darn sure those are trails, but they're dispersing differently. They cannot hide though. If they're trailing, we'll find them. Just gotta change how we're looking at them. And we're looking at the southern portion of the Pacific Ocean. I'm not seeing anything. People in Hawaii have been telling me that they've had trails overhead. do see lines in here, like a couple of like trails, but they look like contrails to me. I'm not really seeing any obvious chemtrails today. I do see them over here, though. Those could be contrails as well. I just mean I see trails. Oh, well, we've got plenty of these. These are our old-fashioned trails. I think it's either the United States doing that or it's China, but these get sprayed in here all the time. Just makes their way over to the US. Look at all that. These are the classic trails. These are the stuff we'd see over the US every single day forever. And you guys have them all over Alaska too, which is a shame because of your fires. Let's switch satellites. Here's a different view of all that. Look at that. It's like the same path over and over and over again. These are kind of smoking out too. There's North Korea. They never get anything over them. You could argue it's just because they don't have any air traffic. Russia's got a lot of trails today. Look at you guys. You guys are trailing up a storm over there. China, not today. You know, for a country that supposedly has the biggest weather modification program in the world, I sure don't see a whole lot of trails in the sky. You guys are putting your weather mod money probably in more ground-based systems. Also, I'd be curious to know about your radar systems, which they do not disclose any of that stuff. New Zealand. I do not see trails over you today. Obvious ones, at least. And Australia, I see some contrails over here, or they're like the new version of chemtrail. Huh. It's kind of smoking out a bit, but those could very likely just be ordinary contrails. Circulation here starting. And this is the southern tip of Africa. Now, remember the other day, so the other day I said I've never seen trails of any kind over Africa. And then I saw some right here. And I was like, well, I can't, because I only saw, I had to see them twice because they looked like contrails. You know, this is weird. These are like, let me use a different satellite. These look kind of reflective or something. I don't know. Something weird is happening over there. Yeah, guys, I just don't ever see trails here, but two planes flying simultaneously next to each other left trails. But I don't know. This whole area looks like there might be duplicates. There might be something wrong with the satellite over here. But part of me thinks, no, there's not. There's just very interesting flight paths where there's a lot of duplicates. I will say this does look more like classic contrails because when they disappear, they're not smoking out. They're just genuinely disappearing. So I would say these are just contrails. It is strange that it's in the exact place it was yesterday. But I suppose, you know, climate, like environmental conditions could, you know, just very well just be the same based off of, you know, temperature fluctuations and things like that. So this might be the sweet spot for that right now for moisture content in the sky. smoky trails. But mostly, no, you guys are, well, they've got major fire issues over in Greece. They're all very hot right now. And I'm not seeing any trail evidence overhead. That could be something, but I doubt it. I did see some trails here, but they're fading out very quickly. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on over here right now. Gosh, I do think it's odd. Anyway, I look forward to seeing what happens here tomorrow. And yeah, gosh, guys, I am now very tired. It is 11:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for joining. See you tomorrow.